Welcome back to another episode of the Bridge the Gap podcast, powered by none other than these three gents at Revenue Reimagined. And we do not have a special guest for you today. I mean, we do. Jake's here, but he is part of Revenue Reimagined. You're stuck with the three of us today. We're going to talk it up. We're going to bullshit around. We got some good topics to talk about. We're going to talk about all sorts of things. But yeah, no one else. We're going to power it by ourselves. Jake, thanks for hanging with us, man.
Dude, it's always a blast. Great to actually be doing this together for the team and just sharing some insights together.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've spent, so the backstory here, y'all, we've spent the better part of the past 2 days together. We are all in different rooms now. I think at one point or another, we all wanted to kill someone out of the three of us. But we'll talk about what we did for the past 3 days and why that's important, because it all ties in to what we're going to talk about today. And let's start with this whole notion, and I see it on LinkedIn every day. You guys see it on LinkedIn every day. Go build or go buy this general AI bot, and holy shit, it's going to transform your business and save the world. Yay or nay?
I say nay. It's not going to save the world.
Is it going to save your go-to-market?
Not going to save your go-to-market either. It actually will mess up your go-to-market. Crap in, crap out. This is the age-old question of like, let's just download a template. Let's put it in. We're going to generate tons of leads, and we're going to generate derivative content of your marketing assets. And we're going to build these great outbound sequences with all this great email content. And like, it's going to be ultra personalized. The thing that people are not realizing is like that small piece of downloadable code that you get from all these iPaaS vendors, or this ChatGPT thing that some of these ChatGPT experts are giving to you in this go-to-market, is like one little piece of an entire execution strategy that people don't have their go-to-market strategy built properly to begin with, or they're struggling with ICP, or they're struggling with like, what is my real messaging we need to do? So we're going to generate a bunch of these generic emails, or we're going to create a generic blog based on some crappy GPT prompt, and then we're going to push it out. And then I wonder, like, oh, our response rates are like spam. What do you think, Jake?
Jake, yay or nay? Generalized AI bots can transform your go-to-market.
Can I say yay and nay?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
It's a yay to intentionally investing in AI initiatives in the business. But the key word there is intentionally. It's a nay to executing it the way that 90%, 99% of the market is doing it today, which is getting people into this, what's being called now like the AI paradox, right? Where there is a basic understanding of the discussed ROI of AI initiatives, yet very few B2B SaaS companies and startups are actually experiencing or benefiting from the actual results of what that actually means. And I think that's the challenge is, are you investing in a proper, intentional AI initiative that has an execution that actually gets you the results versus just, trying some cool tool out like everyone else is right now.
So let's piggyback off that, because we spent a good amount of time talking about this week. There's some awesome AI tools out there, right? There's some really good bots or agents that I think can do a lot of things. But I think one of the areas where people don't think this through is, I'm going to go buy an agent to write me that blog post, Dale, that you talk about. But let's just say it's a great agent and it's a great blog post. And then I'm going to go get another agent that's going to handle, crafting my ICP. And then I'm going to go get another agent that's going to handle my discovery. And I'm going to get another agent that's going to do this. How the fuck are you tying it all together?
Yeah, there's that integration layer is not happening. There are some things that are happening in the space. The model context protocol MCP is being developed. But we were talking to somebody today, and they had a great analogy. It's like the Netflix analogy, right? And so you have Netflix, but then you're buying Paramount, and you're buying HBO, and you're buying ESPN Plus, and you're trying now, all of a sudden you started with like an $80 streaming subscription, but you're up to like $175 in other subscriptions.
Might
They
as well
don't
go
really,
back to cable.
they don't always tie back in together, right? So you got like four different logins of four different apps, and like that is the way that a lot of these go-to-market strategies are being built out, with Writer here potentially, or using a Jasper, and now they're using, Reggie.ai, and they're trying to blend it into HubSpot that has AI, and now like they're overwriting each other. So it's like, which one's really true? And if you have to go back and figure out where the problem is, like, is it the point solution? Is it something in your infrastructure? Is it something in the LLM? Did you prompt it wrong? Like, where is the problem? And I can tell you from my time of coding, like getting into the debugging of that could take up more time than it's even worth. And then people will just shut it down and say like, this AI stuff doesn't work. Or I've seen this great video where all this AI stuff worked, and now like I'm not going to even give it a try because I can't get the results that this other person got.
Yeah, and you're talking about like how are they stitching it together, right? How are people out there stitching it together? I'll tell you what I'm seeing, right? It's with some of our clients, we're in Slack channels with all our clients and the sales teams, like we're part of the teams, right? And I see a founder or a leader of the team coming into the Slack thread saying, "Hey team, saw this recommendation on LinkedIn.
Every day.
You guys see this post? Looks really cool. They're using this tool. Which of you wants to sign up for a trial? We should try that." Then one rep takes the lead. Client signs up. Just most recently, I saw I think there was the Lavender's new emailing audit tool, right? And so like the stitching together is actually being placed the burden of the sales reps to figure out how to prompt engineer or how to figure out the integrations with these tools and their point solutions along the way. And so there's nothing feeding the context. There's nothing feeding the insight, which needs to then drive what is derived into the output that drives the actual efficacy of the application of these different tools. And so like these little agents are operating in silos, trying to accomplish the same tasks while not communicating with each other. And in the end, they're asking the sellers themselves to be the ones who are the prompt engineers behind all of this. And it's just kind of wild that like this is how it's being deployed. And then, 30 days later, 60 days later, it's like, that really didn't work for us. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, I hear you and I feel you. I'll take it one step further. That I think is a good way, and by no means good, but compared to what some other things I see where founders and CEOs are seeing these LinkedIn posts and without even, in my opinion, truly reading it, copying and pasting and saying, "Go try this, team." Like it's not even relevant to you in any way, shape, or form, but go try it. Like no data, no like even looking at it, no who's our customer. Like just go try this and figure it out. What's the solve, y'all? Like what is the solve to tying it and stitching it all together to have a proper AI playbook?
I'll take a first crack at it. I don't think it's any different than the way we've been building go-to-market for ages and ages. Like it's got to be solid foundation, fundamental things that we're doing where we're looking at our ideal customer profiles, we're looking at our buyer personas, we're pressure testing the value propositions, and we're looking at it holistically. Once you have these foundational elements down, you can then start implementing AI to generate derivations of your content, your ebooks, your LinkedIn messaging, but without doing the foundation, like sales 101 type work, which is what people I think I don't know if they're scared of doing, they just don't want to roll up their sleeves and do the pick and shovel work. Without doing that work, these prompts that you're putting into GPT and that you're pasting from like YouTube and you're getting from Reddit and you're like pulling them from Twitter and you're like, I'm just going to try this messaging, and then you look at it and it doesn't even relate to any of the business work that you're doing. So the answer is looking at your go-to-market strategy holistically and trying to figure out where are places that you're trying to solve for and trying to understand what you're what the with the starting with the end in mind, and then working backwards to how you would actually implement and execute the AI platform.
Jake?
I mean, it starts with first going through the exercise of understanding what is the problem we're trying to solve, and asking that question first, then understanding what parts of this problem that we need to solve can we solve with automation or AI. Then it's exploring what tools, what processes can we use to then automate the problem that we have identified that we want to solve with AI, and then what are the dependencies of that, and how are we going to execute that, and putting that all together as a plan so that when you deploy, you have a clear problem identified, you have clear context for the problem, you have clear context for providing AI for the like what you're looking for on the task, and then there's an intentionality behind that. Um, that like and you're not operating in silos. I mean, I think that's a big key here too, is that you're using deep context to inform these tasks, and you're using deep information to inform what it is that you're seeking for the intentional output.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think then having a documented system of stitching it together, and we've talked about this a lot, but that's where I think it all goes wrong, right? You can't change one thing without expecting to change the rest. And I think there's some pretty exciting stuff coming down the line on that. Let's piggyback off this for a minute. So I think AI has fundamentally changed some things. So we it used to be a employee world, right? Would you all agree that for the past couple of years, up until recently, employees controlled the job market? I think employees were setting salaries. I think employees were able to be fairly demanding. I want to work remote. I want this MacBook. I want this. I want that. And employers really had to capitulate because they needed these people. Do you agree, yay or nay, that there's a fundamental shift and we are now back in a 100% employer driven job market? Jake, you first, man.
I think this is a hell yay on this one, and here's why. As much as I struggle with these topics, because I struggle with the power control of this thing, because I always feel like it's never works in the favor of the employee. I think the employee is always on the shit end of this stick. But here's what's interesting to me. As we were talking about AI, I think as that pendulum has shifted so far and swung so far in the direction where now we're starting to see a lot of people struggling with getting ROI from all of the initiatives. One of the realizations that has come from this pendulum swinging so far is we can, in knowledge is a commodity. Information is a commodity, and the ability to automate basic tasks or administrative tasks is something that people are figuring out. And if I can't at least improve my day-to-day efficiency and my day-to-day output, then I'm failing somewhere in the market, because like this is like a subscription to OpenAI or Claude. It's not going to cost me any more than $20 a month, right? So point being, if employees are not getting more efficient, are not getting better at delivering basic tasks and basic output, there is a fundamental question that's being asked now: is why? And why can't you improve the work that you're doing? And why can't you, I can hire other people to do this work, or I can, there always is going to be a question: is that what part of your work can we automate? And so I think that there is a fundamental shift in the thinking that has occurred probably over the last even year and a half, 2 years. It's not been long, but I would say that specifically in the last year, I think you're starting to see founders think like, wait, you should be producing at a higher output than you have in the past.
Couldn't agree more. Dale, do you agree? Is it a yay? Is it a nay? Is it somewhere in the middle?
I think the employers do have the leverage right now. However, I would say, except for the workers that have AI literacy and can prove out AI literacy from a productivity perspective. So I think we've swung the pendulum so far to everyone's trying to build these bots, trying to deploy these bots. I can let go of my BD staff, for example, and I can just put in a point solution. I won't name any of them, or I can have AI generate it, or I can hire somebody to start building these things. And they're not seeing the results they need to see. Back to challenges just in general in the demand generation world. Um, so then if someone comes in from an AI literacy perspective and can prove out AI literacy from a macro level, they'll have a leg up in the competition of the people that are looking to get jobs. But I agree with Jake. In the last 12, 18 months, like it's kind of swung into the employer space, but that will also start shifting as well. For example, if leadership isn't AI literate, they haven't been playing around with ChatGPT or LLMs or whatever, like that mid-market manager is going to be let go as well. So like now you're going to have a pool of people that are out there trying to get jobs, and like who's going to get the job? The job's going to be people that are AI literate, can have conversations, can articulate how the AI first space or the AI native space will help generate more productivity and work life execution.
People buy from people. That's why companies who invest in meaningful connections win. The best part? Gifting doesn't have to be expensive to drive results, just thoughtful. Sendoso's intelligent gifting platform is designed to boost personalized engagement throughout the entire sales process. Trust me, I led sales for a Sendoso competitor, and I could tell you, no one does gifting better than Sendoso. If you're looking for a proven way to win and retain more customers, visit sendoso.com. Yeah, I'm a hell yay as well. I think that the employers absolutely have the leverage now. I think that when you look at the ability to drive efficiency amongst the team and arguably get a 1.5 to 3.5x return on what you used to get, the stake is higher. And I can tell you, I've spoken with 3 founders last week who, as part of their interview process, very specifically are digging into, hey, Jake, tell me how you use AI to accelerate ABC. Walk me through how you would use AI to solve this problem. And I think what you're seeing now, instead of exercises that used to be very time and resource dependent to prove that you could do the job, the exercise is now, how quickly can you do it? Here's your exercise, screen share and show me how you're going to use AI to solve X problem. And if you cannot do that, you are not going to get hired. I don't think AI is going to mass replace every role out there. I think repetitive roles are, but if you can't articulate how you're going to use AI to be really good at your job and be better at your job, I think you're going to have a big problem.
That's a dangerous, slippery slope. Like,
Tell me
open
more.
up and show me how you're gonna like solve a problem with ChatGPT or Claude or any of these other platforms. Like, I think that becomes a slippery slope down to
Copying someone's personal IP.
something like that, or exposing risk, or I don't know. There,
But if you work for me and you're doing it, it doesn't it then become my IP?
that's what I
And I'm
mean.
not
Like,
saying I agree either way, by the way.
I think it's I think it's a trap question because I think you're being asked to do something that they probably do not want you doing when you're actually working for them, but they're going to ask you to do it during an interview process. I call bullshit on it.
Yes and no, though. I mean, I think every founder, every CEO is going to want you to use AI to your advantage. It's how much to your advantage. But think about all the bullshit tasks people used to be asked to do. Like, I can tell you, I interviewed for a CRO role and I was asked to build a 5-year revenue model. Like, go F off with that. Like that's like a lot of work and a lot of time. And I know damn well if the 3 of us are interviewing, you're going to ask all of us to put a model together. You're going to take what you like out of both, and there's your model. And we all just gave you a free work product.
I think what Dell, like something Dell said earlier, I think is the key in this thought is whether it's right or it's wrong. the thing that people need to be mindful of is that it's happening. And here's why, right? There is data proving that like employers are planning to reduce 40% of their workforce with initiatives around AI. Like that's just where the brain is. It's not that it's right or it's wrong. It's that that's where the sentiment or the thought or the trend is going. Benioff the other day said, like less employees, more AI. And they're like, that's not just in sales, like that was part of a discussion around dev too. It is the hype, right? And because that is the hype, people are going to make them, founders, leaders, teams are going to make the mistake of leaning into that and making those choices. And that will affect the employment market. I think things will balance, but you just got to keep that in the back of your mind. So like Dale's point earlier is if you are not part of that team that understands how to use AI, how to add value and contribute to the team's efficiency and output because you have a skill in AI, you are putting yourself on the chopping block, not because you're wrong, but because you're gambling with the mind of a founder who might lean in to the hype.
Totally agree.
Yeah. Could not agree more. All right, let's shift gears a little bit here. Let's talk about customer success. So historically, in my opinion, customer success has been seen as kind of this like afterthought, right? Like your job is to like sort of make sure customers are happy if they call in and they have a problem, like make sure they're taken care of, and to try to prevent the leaky bucket, which we can certainly talk a little bit about. Yay or nay? Customer success is no longer an afterthought and is now arguably being considered as much revenue producing responsible as the sales team. Dale.
Yeah, definitely. Yay. I think I've been pounding this drum for a year and a half. Like customer success is super important. And I'm seeing a lot of like front end salespeople, BDs wanting to move to an AM role, a customer success role versus a pure play sales role top of funnel. So I'm seeing a lot of that movement happening. The good customer success people that are in the space have not traditionally had the sales chops to be able to identify opportunities, drive a deal, make sure that they're listening for the key moments in a conversation to identify the deal and bring it through the funnel. Even though that's a lot less expensive to do, the cost of sale or the cost of expansion is a lot lower and a lot less. But there's this mind shift set happening where it's making sure that you're a revenue generating organization and while being a customer advocate. So I 100% agree. I don't believe any organization is not doing that. In fact, with a customer success mindset at the jump of the sale is going to survive.
Jake, yay or nay, man?
Yeah, this is also a big yay right now. Look, like with the economic pressures that we're seeing in the market, plus the added expectations or the thinking around efficiency, naturally, again, you're going to see founders thinking like, what more can I do with my sales team and my revenue team to drive greater output? And one of those is like, how can we drive more efficiency out of customer success? It is no longer going to be thought as a support arm to the business, but a revenue engine for the business. And how can that happen, right? So I absolutely think that this is going to be a continued conversation. We had this conversation 10 years ago with marketing and sales. Now, like we're just having this conversation now with customer success and sales, and it's becoming a greater reality with the pressures and the resources and the tools that we have. So, like, you got to get this figured out. You got to understand that it's coming. Like, don't fight the thought. So lean in and understand what it means, because what I'll say is the post-pandemic world learned that we could survive and stay alive if we invested in customer success and retention. And in that investment, we realized that we could do more than just retention. We could grow. And so like That's the
Yeah.
reality.
I'm a hard yay on this. I think you both brought up good points, Dale. Like I've seen more AEs be willing to go into like AM expansion roles than I ever have in my career. And Jake, to your point, post pandemic, it's not just about retaining. Retaining is table stakes. If you are not retaining, expanding, growing, cross selling, upselling, you're not going to have a holistic revenue engine. And I love that you brought out the point about marketing, right? Because we just had this conversation, you and I, with a client this week. Like, let's stop talking about how many MQLs you're creating and let's start talking about the amount of pipeline you're creating that actually converts to revenue. Everyone in the go-to-market org is responsible for revenue. And I, for one, am thrilled to see that customer success is now going in this direction.
Like, when was the last time you heard a CS team that you worked with talking about CSAT and NPS as like the exciting North Star? That like
a healthy CS team or a CS team?
Yeah, because first is the direction that you're seeing more of the CS teams we're working with, talking about needing to focus on NRR and GRR.
Yeah. Every healthy CS team that I think we speak with and that we're a part of, listen, don't get me wrong. CSAT and NPS are important and absolutely should be tracked. But the North Star, how are we successful? What are my bonuses paid on? Revenue, NRR, GRR, expansion, period, hard stop.
100%. And I think it feeds back. Like we've been talking about, as we said, integration between sales, marketing, CS, but the closer all of these departments can get together and understanding what the customers are really wanting, because the other underlying problem that we're seeing, kind of back to the leaky bucket syndrome, is that there's these zombie products, or products that cannot put additional work into the product, and yet we're still trying to sell it to customers. And so there's product challenges that companies are having, and those product challenges are not going to go away. And it's like, do you invest more in the product or do you generate a cash cow? And so those decisions are having to be made, and then they're cutting to the bone all the way in the organization. And so don't wait till it's too late that you're losing customers.
Not anything than that. Like, if you're doing that, you're losing. If you're not shifting your thinking to focusing on not just retention, but now the focus of your CS organization now is how do we directly impact churn, contraction, upsells, and cross-sells, and proactively working towards that, then you're already like making a mistake. So I guess it's you got to set your sights on what are we actually doing to impact revenue through the exercises around preventing churn, contraction, driving upsells, expansion, and retention.
100%. All right, shifting gears again. Yay or nay, if you want to be successful 2025 and beyond, verticalized SaaS is the way to go. Jake, you're up first.
This one's interesting. I don't know if I have a strong yay or nay, but what I am seeing in the market.
What are you seeing?
What I'm seeing in the market is I am being compelled that this is a yay, and it's a consistent yay, and something that I hadn't seen in the past. For example, what we're seeing is verticalized SaaS businesses are able to take advantage of micro trends that are occurring in the market. As an example, we have a client who is hyper verticalized in the veterinary space, and they provide a very niche service to a very niche persona, but has a pretty decent TAM. They grew to almost 5 million in revenue and ARR in just over 1 year because of this hyper verticalization. Another unique scenario that like compels me is you look at industries like healthcare, for example, and things that drive the forced behavior around compliance with HIPAA regulations and other things. These hyper verticalized, compliance driven niche markets are making tools a requirement and needs to have, not a nice to have. They are what keep the lights on. So like there's healthy data out there supporting that, hyper verticalized SaaS startups are growing at 10% faster than their peers in the industry.
Dale.
This is an interesting one for me as well. I'm on the fence with it right now, but I'm going to tie it back to some AI stuff. I think the reason why it's getting so much traction as well is because you can create products in the SaaS world from AI very quickly. So people can spin things up on a super verticalized, you don't even need a huge TAM, but you can spin up a product fairly quickly with some of the AI platforms and generate software to test it out and to see if you get traction in a much more compressed time frame. And then if you're getting traction, you have if you have that you're starting to see product market fit, then you'll actually go out and build the rest of the product out. So you have this methodology of building rapidly, like rapid prototyping, and then getting product market fit, potentially yes or no, in a much more condensed space where it used to be like 18 months to 24 months. Let's do it in 3 months, see what we're getting for any kind of revenue. And then if that's making sense, let's like double down and really build out a enterprise type solution.
Think about like this, right? When we talk about product market fit, we talk about selling the same thing the same way to the same persona over and over and over, right? And instead of what everyone's eagerness is to do right there is saying, okay, now what else can we do to break this and throw more product at it, or throw more personas at it, or throw more vertical at it, and so we can scale. Essentially, the argument here is forget all that. Now go deeper. You're selling the same thing the same way, the same persona. Now, like how do you capture that, right? How do you stay in that space for a minute and go longer?
Yeah, so I do think that a lot of the successful orgs that we're seeing right now are either hyper verticalized or attempting to be hyper verticalized. But I think part of that, Dale, to your point, is it's easier to do that with the advent in AI. There's so much that it accelerates. But I think there's always an argument to be made that like know what you're really good at and let other people do the rest. And I think that, in my opinion, as the market continues to evolve, we're going to start to see more divestiture, if you will, and more focus on being hyper verticalized and knowing what you're really good at, which will then lead to consolidation in the verticalizations, is my 2 cents. All right, we got a few more minutes here as we start to wrap, and I feel like the 3 of us could yap forever, but where's go-to-market going? And I know that's a broad sentence, but we asked this the last time the 3 of us got together. We tend to ask it on every episode of the podcast, but I don't know that the 3 of us really like ever sit down, other than like relevant to our business. But where's go-to-market going? What's the future of go-to-market? I used to say over the next 6 to 12 months, and I feel like I can't say that anymore because who the hell could predict that far out? Where's go-to-market going over the next quarter, Dale?
Yeah, I think there's going to be I think we're going to start seeing a lot of the companies that are trying to do top of funnel, getting top of funnel. They're going to have to try a different place. So I think we're struggling with the outreach, the top of funnel. I actually think it lends ourselves back to the days of like snail mail and outreach and personalization with somebody opening something. I think of like a lot of what Dale Dupree is doing. And while that's worked for a long period of time, I think exponentially it's going to work because people just aren't responding to other people. We need to do pattern interrupts into what's happening. And with the advent of AI, everything is looking the same. So like, it doesn't even matter if you have gray subject lines or things are like, it's almost too much, and our brains from a human perspective can't take it. So we need to do a pattern interrupt. And I think that pattern interrupt is more on-site, more in person, more personalized from like a not like, hey, you went to college, but like, let me send you something that you really care deeply about because I saw you talk about it on LinkedIn. So I'm going to go opposite of AI. There you go.
I like it. Jake, what do you think, man?
I'm going to actually build on it and say that it's like it's AI powered humans, right? So
Mm.
as the early majority swung this pendulum, they're realizing that didn't work, so I think over the next quarter or two, the effort is going to be how do we start doing what I'm calling like more craft AI initiatives, where we are being more thoughtful about our craft and what we do well and what has worked for us to do more of that with AI powering that level of intentionality in the craft work that goes into it, so that we don't lose the human in it, but that we can do more of the good, as opposed to what I think everyone has figured out is accelerating more of the suck that they've done, right? And I think that the laggards are going to continue going down this path that everyone's figured out, and I think you're going to continue seeing people struggling for the next several quarters with filling top of funnel, with driving pipeline and like mass outbound campaigns that aren't working. I think you're going to see like a continuing challenge of people damaging their domain scores, and like just like we have come full circle on even like the outbound initiatives, where companies like Outreach years ago were warning us about not making this mistake of spamming your TAM. We're doing that right now. Like that's what's
Every
happening.
day.
When people are so eager to adopt AI, they're doing that. And so I think it's going to swing back to, those who understand the importance of it and are ahead of it, and are the leading, I guess the leaders in this space is craft AI, like human powered AI initiatives.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, the age of the LinkedIn guru is going to end. The free 99 playbook is going to go away. People are tired of being burned by the same BS that they've seen for the past year. I agree, Jake, that people's domains are going to go in the toilet. And the problem is they're not going to be able to fix it. And that's what I think is going to happen over the next quarters. It's they're not listening. They think they're smarter because AI tells them that they can do this. And they're going to do so much reputational damage that they're not going to be able to come back from it. I do think we're going to see more of the verticalization. I think we're going to see some consolidation as well. And I love the term craft AI, and I'll double down on that. I think that if you are using AI in the right way, and balancing it with a human centered approach, that's going to be the key. Having AI and just hitting a button and letting it run by itself, I think, is going to destroy you. I think if you mix AI in the mix with a human touch, if you use it responsibly, and if you really focus on where AI can and should help, those are going to be the folks that become the domain expertise and really start to grow. And then lastly, and this is one that we didn't talk about, I think we're going to continue to see the advent of social selling become even more important, because while AI is great, I'm a big believer that people want to buy from people.
100%. Could not agree more.
Final take, Dale, final words, final last words.
Just
Adam is the best. Good. Jake. No, I'm kidding.
just get back to basics. Like we're trying to make things too complicated. Like there's 101, reach out, be humble, understand what you're trying to, we all have value that we can deliver in the process. Align to your buyers, understand what they're trying to accomplish, and drive impact versus trying to do all these fancy things that aren't working.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess my kind of final words is, I think the companies that are going to win aren't just adopting new tools and new AI. They're adopting a new mindset. I think that's the key. And efficiency is just it's the means to an end. It's not the end game itself. It's the launch pad. So like, I guess the idea here being, if you're building for the future, you need to ask yourself, are you playing by last year's playbook, or are you actively building the playbook of the future as you're iterating in the current market?
I love that. That's the question right there. Are you playing by yesterday's playbook, or are you playing by today's playbook? Which one's going to help you win? Dale, Jake, we need to do this more often. We don't do it enough. I would say thank you both for joining, but it's not like either you had a damn choice. But it was awesome to spend a couple days with you. To everyone listening, if you have questions about anything we spoke about, if you disagree, if you agree, ask Adam. That's right. Ask Adam. Please reach out to us. These are the topics we'd love to talk about. Ping either Jake, Dale, or myself. Dale's cell phone number. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, y'all, have an awesome rest of the day.